When founders build their initial customer acquisition strategy, they run into a severe cognitive bias regarding their growth. Ask a business owner who their target audience is, and you will frequently hear the same answer: anyone with money to spend is our customer. Operating under this assumption creates a mass market illusion. It forces an organization to stretch a strictly finite pool of resources across a nearly infinite spectrum of demands. Internally, this approach guarantees capital dilution. Manpower is scattered across conflicting priorities, and the engineering or service teams are denied the focus required to build deep, highly specific product expertise. Externally, the damage compounds into logistical waste and ballooning debt collection. Ultimately, the business is exposed to price wars against corporate giants who possess the infrastructure to win on cost alone. Sustainable profit for an SME does not originate from maximizing the breadth of a customer base. It comes from rigorous, exclusionary targeting. To understand why broad targeting fails, we have to look at the 5 distinct market structures outlined in the business model canvas. The first is the mass market. This model requires massive, undifferentiated volume to function. Businesses here sell basic necessities to a vast population with identical base needs. SMEs are mathematically eliminated from competing in this space. They lack the immense capital and long supply chains required to leverage true economies of scale. The second structure is the segmented market. Here, an organization serves multiple distinct groups that share a core problem but require entirely separate value propositions and delivery channels. Third, we have multi-sided platforms. This ecosystem requires capturing 2 entirely different segments simultaneously for the product to hold any value. The fourth and fifth models involve diversification and the niche market. The niche is the absolute optimal survival zone for a smaller enterprise. The highly specialized demands of a niche act as a barrier to entry, locking out larger competitors who rely on volume. True market power requires abandoning the safety of broad appeal. You must claim ownership over a defensible microsegment. Traditionally, marketing departments try to locate this microsegment using basic demographics: age, income, gender, and location. This chart shows the demographic illusion. We've plotted 2 55-year-old male executives from Bangkok with identical incomes. On paper, they're the same target. But when we expand the matrix to include psychographics and behavioral metrics, the data points immediately diverge. One executive is an analog traditionalist who optimizes his operations for simplicity and personal relationships. The other is a hyperactive early adopter who optimizes purely for automated speed. If you market a technical software solution to both using the exact same value proposition, you guarantee a 50% failure rate before you even deploy the campaign. Understanding why a customer buys and how they operate internally is the only reliable predictor of their willingness to pay. To translate this abstract behavioral data into a functional tool, top firms utilize a customer persona. Take Kun Samsak, an ideal B2B target. His profile ignores superficial traits entirely. Instead, we log operational realities. He hates aggressive sales pitches. He places orders at midnight. And his primary business friction is late deliveries from suppliers. This persona serves as a structural blueprint for the entire organization. Kun Samsak's midnight ordering habit translates into an immediate mandate for the IT department: build a self-serve automated back-end application so he can purchase without speaking to a sales rep. His pain regarding late deliveries gives the logistics team a strict parameter: rework supply routes to guarantee precise, specific time windows for drop-offs. A precise persona stops departments from guessing. It dictates exactly where finite capital must be deployed to solve real friction. We can see the exact financial cost of ignoring these metrics by examining a decade-old wholesale distributor operating in the hospitality, restaurant, and cafe sector. Initially, the company operated under the mass market mandate. Their stated strategy was to sell to any business with a storefront, regardless of scale or location. This strategy built a database of thousands of clients, but the financial reality was grim. The company faced soaring transport costs from running micro-deliveries, high bad debt ratios from failing street vendors, and negative cash flow. When we apply the Pareto principle, the 80-20 rule, to the company's data, this chart reveals a massive structural flaw. 80% of the distributor's actual profit was generated by exactly 20% of its client base. Those profit drivers were strictly Tier 1 clients, specialty coffee shops, and boutique hotels. Attempting to service the bottom 80% was actively cannibalizing the resources required to properly serve the highly profitable top 20%. The distributor executed an immediate operational shift to protect and expand their Tier 1 segment. They implemented a high-touch strategy for these premium clients. They deployed dedicated key account managers, provided ingredient training for staff, and guaranteed just-in-time delivery for premium imports. They traded higher operational costs for immense loyalty and premium pricing. Conversely, the lower-margin Tier 2 segment required a completely divergent, automated approach to become profitable. The distributor removed manual sales calls for Tier 2. They shifted these accounts to an automated B2B e-commerce platform, mandated upfront cash payments, and restricted logistics to strictly batched weekly deliveries. Splitting the customer segment physically restructured the supply chain. The company cut severe logistical waste and converted a negative cash flow operation into a highly defensible, high-margin business. Have you applied the 80-20 rule to your current client base to identify where your true profit centers actually lie? Are your target personas based on hard, verifiable behavioral data, or are they built on assumptions brainstormed in a boardroom? Is your organization truly prepared to intentionally reject bad revenue in order to protect and scale your operational margins? True scale is achieved by dominating a specialized niche and becoming structurally indispensable to them. It is not achieved by spreading mediocre services across every available demographic. Defining exactly who you serve is the only mathematical way to dictate what you build. Once you have meticulously defined your target segment, the next step is applying value proposition design to engineer an offering they mathematically cannot refuse.